and welcome to Let's Have Words. I am your host, Lara Samuels. Excited to be here, as always, on a Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're broadcasting live from beautiful southern New Hampshire on WWHR Internet Media. We're here every Sunday at this time. So, for those of you that may be new to the show, Let's Have Words is a talk show. What we do on the show sometimes is we interview people about various topics, and the topics we have a very broad range of topics that we cover. Art and music and culture and religion and philosophy and politics and you name it, nature. So oftentimes we have a guest on the show that we interview, or sometimes we just have an open discussion where we just pose a topic and then we have people call in and or chat in with their comments and questions. So tonight, we are actually going to do an interview format show, which means that you, as the audience member, can participate, of course, as always, in the chat with your comments and questions. But we will not be permitting people to come into the studio with their videos because we are having an interview. All right, so let's have words. We celebrate the art of conversation. Is basically what we're up to over here. It's kind of a thing. We're thinking about how the importance of face-to-face communication, the importance of discussion, and the discussions on Let's Have Words take a very sort of natural and organic path. So tonight on Let's Have Words, we're actually doing something a little different tonight because, well, no, there's no reason. We just decided to do it tonight. So. And what we're doing is we're actually going to be more or less giving you a little bit of history about WWHR Internet Media, how it came to be, and a little bit about, so a little history, a little bit about that, and also some of our past and upcoming programming. And we're specifically focusing on a very exciting venture that we are going to be embarking on very soon. So let's start with a little bit of history of the hearing room. And we do have a guest tonight, and I will introduce our guest momentarily. So let's start with a little bit of history. So the hearing room, which the logo, which is behind me, was founded by myself and my partner in life crime and the producer of this show, Mark A. Bear. And the two of us opened the hearing room, I believe, in June of 2016, I want to say. And we were interested in providing just a place for the creative process to occur. So, we were open to any sort of, art, music, any modality, as long as it sort of fell under the umbrella of the creative process. So, mostly focusing on music, art, poetry, also comedy, also theater. So we did, we had performances, we put on shows. We had, a songwriters group that met there. We did a drum circle. We had several open mics. We had a bunch of jams, and we had a lot of performances. So we did all kinds of things there at the hearing room, and we were kind of just beginning to develop a little bit of momentum. And then, of course, COVID hit. And we had to close our doors, which we, and when in the process, we lost our venue. And so we were in discussions. And when I say we were a registered nonprofit, and so we had a board, and we were in discussions about reopening after COVID, but kind of fell through for a variety of reasons. And so we never actually found ourselves another physical venue. However, the hearing room carried on in the virtual world during COVID and still carries on in the virtual world. And also we are, even though we're no longer, we've dissolved our nonprofit status, we still sort of exist in the sense that we're producing programming. We're doing that primarily in conjunction with an art center in Westford, Mass. Called the PCA, the Parish Center for the Arts, but also, of course, online. So we continue. The heart of the hearing room is still beating strong, even though we don't have a physical location. that's just a little history for you on how all of this came to be. And then during COVID, we kept several of our events going, such as the Tuesday night open mic, which we still do every Tuesday night in Zoom. As long as people still want it, we're still going to do it. So, so we're doing it every Tuesday in Zoom, and we did that during the pandemic, and we also during the shutdown, I should say, and beyond. And also, we kept the Thursday night jam going. That continued online in the Zoom format, and then and now we're doing that live at the PCA every Thursday night, 7 to 10 p.m. That's hosted by Mark Alio. The songwriters group is still carrying on, hosted by Eric Wise. That's every second and fourth Saturday afternoon. And we were doing Let's Have Words as a poetry night for a little while on Wednesday nights, and then somehow it morphed into a talk show on Sunday. Don't even ask me how that occurred. And and then there were a couple other things. We'd do the Bluegrass Jam still at the PCA on the third Fridays. So there's a couple other things that have continued in Zoom, and we also added some things. We did like a movie night. We did a movie night, and that continues on. We did themed open mics, so that carries on in Zoom. So we're still doing a lot of programming in the virtual format, and we're going to add some things. So coming up, we've got a show. I think it'll be a monthly show called On the Wire, and we'll be playing some of our favorite recordings from the hearing room, just a little nostalgia there. And so look around for that. And also, that brings me to what we're going to be talking about tonight, which is the fact that during COVID, spearheaded by my partner in life and crime and the producer of the show, Mark Aber, we did radio shows. So we did some radio shows in Zoom during the pandemic, during the shutdown. We did 3 of them, and now we intend on resurrecting that, and we're going to do more radio shows, potentially, virtually, but also potentially in a hybrid, as a hybrid thing where we do it partially live and partially virtually in the future. So that's what we're talking about tonight, and the person I will be discussing this with is none other than Mr. Mark Aber, who is coming on right now. There he is.
Here I am.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay over there?
I can hear you. So Mark is sitting right across from me, by the way. He's usually behind the scenes on Let's Have Words, but tonight he is both behind the scenes and in front of the scenes.
Exactly.
And to the sides of the scenes. You're just all over the scenes.
I'm all over the scenes.
Up and down the scenes.
Exactly.
All right, so
before we go further,
Yes.
because of that fact, I just
Yes.
want to let people know that comment when we're opening up the chat and things like that.
which we will do.
I'm the one who has to take care of all that, so I'll be multitasking. So there may be a delay in getting all the things out there, but I am pressing a lot of buttons tonight.
Yes, and he has to, and he's the guest. He's our honored guest. So that's a lot of brain power that's required to do all those that multitasking.
Indeed.
All right.
I love what you've done with the place. It's like a big theater back
Look
here.
at that. It's lovely. Yes. So we are going to talk about radio shows tonight. That is our plan. So let's start by just kind of giving people like a brief history. So the radio show had a very brief period. There was a very brief period of time when radio shows were popular because television quickly took over. Am I right?
That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Of course, commercial radio and radio dramas and plays like that didn't come about till the mid-20s. And radio, whoever was it, Marconi, that invented the radio. He did that in the late 1800s. So it took a long time for households to have radio and then
Right.
develop the programming. So in the mid-20s, radio plays and radio shows showed up.
Yes, and they were like a very popular form of entertainment for just a couple of decades,
It's
and
true.
all kinds of different shows. So what got you interested in radio shows? You in particular?
That's easy for me. I had gotten an 8-track of the Inner Sanctum Mysteries, and from listening to that, I was totally hooked. And I would seek out, cassettes that used to have like the Lone Ranger, the Green Hornet. They used to have these cassettes that you could buy of old time radio, and I just loved it. The imagery that the imagination can come up with for that was very intriguing to me, instead of the flickering screen that we have these days.
I see. So there's something. Can you kind of put your finger on what it is about radio shows that appeals to you? Just so you like the fact that you have to sort of use your imagination and
without
fill
a
in the
doubt.
gaps.
It's theater in the mind.
Yeah.
The way radio shows have to be presented to someone that's a listener is different than television. In television, you have all these things that are happening on the screen and whatnot. But in radio, you have to do things with no visual cues whatsoever. So you use sound effects, you use a narrator setting the scene, or you use, you use voices, things like that to give you the scene that is being presented to you. Whereas, if you wanted to, on a television show, just go ahead and see a bar scene, they would turn on a bunch of tables, a bar scene, and some patrons. But in the radio show, you have to have different voices, the sound of clinking glasses, and murmuring conversation and things like that.
Yeah.
And I just love the just the picture that can be drawn from that.
I see. Yeah. And what are some of your favorites? What are some of your favorite radio shows? Besides the Inner Sanctum, which is obviously has a special place for
Yeah,
it.
I definitely love the Inner Sanctum. My all-time favorite radio show was Suspense. It was produced for quite a long time. It was just very good. Storylines were great. They had just so many things going for it. But I love so many of them, as you know, because I listen to them a lot.
I happen to have some inside information on this, and yeah, Mark listens to radio shows in his car. You listen to like the XM radio station that has the radio shows.
Exactly.
Yeah, and my favorite, just from having to sit there and listen, is the Whistler. I love the Whistler. I love how sarcastic that guy is. It's funny.
Look at the world.
Yeah, yeah. I love that show. All right, yeah. So they're great. They're gems. They're like these little gems of entertainment. All right, so you're interested in radio shows, and you decided at some point, well, I'd like to do this in Zoom, right? so what led to that epiphany that you wanted to?
Well, we were all learning during the shutdown
Yeah.
how to use the Zoom format. Being the fact that we were producing content 7 days a week for the hearing room,
Yeah.
A lot of that does not necessarily translate into the digital world. You can't hold a music jam in this environment because of
you can't.
delays and things like that. And there are softwares out there that are said to be able to overcome this, but it's just not doable in my mind. Just by nature. But the radio show, using the squares format and things like that, I says, you know what? I think this is something that can be done. And of course, like everybody else, I thought shutdown was going to be a narrow window. So I had viewed or a vision of being able to do this as a live broadcast, on stage at a venue, because, it's just, you can bring theater to the community and then broadcast it live like we were doing. I always knew we would do it, we'd do it in Zoom, but then I thought we would make it a, some kind of a broadcast event, and then treat the world.
Yeah, I happen to think, because I've participated, full disclosure, I've participated in a couple of these radio shows that we've done, and I think that actually this is not just something that lends itself to the Zoom format. I think that the video conferencing environment actually adds something to the radio show.
I think that's
it
absolutely
enhances
true.
it.
Yep.
I think it's perfect for that sort of like a theater, but you're not moving around just like you would in a radio show. You would stand in front of your microphone. You would stay in one spot, just like you do in Zoom. But in Zoom you can have your or whatever video conferencing you happen to be using. You can have you can have costumes, you can have props, and it's still very minimal, and you can interact with other characters in really interesting ways. And I just think it's great to do radio shows in video conferencing.
I think it allows it to bring another dimension
Yeah.
to radio dramas, radio plays that weren't available, but you can take it in a good way to make it, I don't know what to call it, hokey or whatever, but I like in old sci-fi B movies and whatnot, when a spaceship is going by on a string,
right.
And it's goofy and all that. I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not, that's something you can do in this environment.
Yeah.
And you can do things by letting characters explore more too, because they're involved, so the actors can decide, this is something we do. Whereas before, you're reading a line and all your emotion is the only thing they see. But it's possible to do costume changes, set locales, and just so much more in the digital format that and it's not television. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It adds that
It's its own
element to
thing.
it.
It's really its own
awesome.
thing.
I really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I like it too. So we are going to, just so folks know, we are going to have some clips tonight. We have some, because we've done 3 radio shows, the WWHR, which is once again, virtual, the virtual hearing room.
The WWHR
stands for
Worldwide Hearing Room. That's
Hearing
where our call letters come from.
Yeah. So these radio shows that we did during COVID, we did 3. We do actually have some clips that we're going to play for people, and we're going to discuss those in a few minutes. But I think maybe, I don't know if we have already, but we should open the chat just in case people want to participate with their comments and questions. And we are talking with producer of the show, Mark Abear,
That's
producer
right.
of this show,
We've gotten down
founder
to
of the virtual
interviewing
arm
ourselves.
of the hearing room. Yeah, we're interviewing ourselves here tonight. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So a little self-promotion.
That's
I
all right.
guess. We're just letting people know what's happening, and this is exciting. This is coming up. We are going to be doing more, is the point. So we've done 3.
Without a doubt.
And now we plan to do some more, so we're going to be talking a little bit about that and how you can get involved and all that good stuff. And so I wanted to ask you, so first of all, how do you decide what scripts to do? Like, what's the script process?
Mm-hmm.
And also, how do you recruit actors and stuff for the radio shows?
Sure. The easiest way to choose a script is to listen to the show. And these shows are available, of course, like you had mentioned on old time satellite radio. But there are also websites out there like Old Time Radio and things like that that have an archive of all these shows. And so the thing to do is to listen to them and decide, can that be done, in a good format? Because we do have limitations within this environment. We had done 3 shows and we did them all through Zoom, and each time was a learning curve. But we've gotten away from Zoom for the broadcasting, and I'm limited to only having 9 actors. I can only have 9 squares.
Well, you want a radio show though. That would be the maximum anyway, right?
Yeah, generally radio shows don't have
a
a tremendous amount.
cast,
They may have background noise and background actors,
Right.
but your main characters, you're probably talking 6 characters
Yeah.
is probably the average, and I'm not sure if that's 100% true.
Yeah, because since it's in your mind, you would easily lose track if there were too many people,
Right.
too many characters.
So,
yeah.
so I listen to the stories, and decide, would that one be kind of cool to do? And then I go ahead and I find the script, and there are a couple of places online you can find radio scripts, and there are Internet Archive libraries that have all these things for download for free. All the tobacco lawsuits have filed formal. What do you call that? Formal papers. These have become evidence in the trials against Big Tobacco that sponsored a lot of these shows. So those scripts, as broadcast, are available out there. And then there are radio show fan sites that you can go to.
Yeah.
So that's how you go ahead and find the script. And the way that we've been recruiting for shows is I created a Facebook group
Okay.
early on when we first started doing this. And we just had people, we put it out there to the public, to the hearing room community at large, and just said, hey, we're going to be trying this thing. We're going to do it here in Zoom. What do y'all think if you'd like to be involved? And I think right now we have 39 people involved in the radio troupe.
Oh, sweet.
And some of the people are, professional actors, and then there are amateurs and whatnot.
So I was going to ask you, are there auditions for the radio shows? Or no?
No, I mean, basically the way it works is, we're going to do, Abbott and Costello meet the Frankenstein. And then, people would say, hey, I want to be Frankenstein. I want to be Abbott, or whatever. So, and just put it out there. And, whatever anybody wants to do.
Just kind of falls into place.
Yeah,
and if you do enough of them, you can say, well, maybe next time you can be involved or something.
Right. Well, timing is a lot of things. So let's just say, I think that maybe you have somebody within the radio troupe that has a wicked British accent, and then you want to do, some kind of a Sherlock Holmes thing or something like that. So, maybe you have in mind as a producer director that, hey, I'd like to ask, Susie Q to go ahead and be the evil villain in this, and then throw it out to her,
Right.
But nobody has to audition.
It just kind of comes together.
Yeah.
It just kind of comes together. But no auditions.
Nope.
So
not at all.
So yeah. So if anybody and the thing that I like about the radio shows is that it's not like a super time commitment for the actors. It's a big time commitment for you. I know you put a lot of time into putting the sound effects together. I mean, that's a lot of work alone, just figuring out the sound effects and then making sure that you insert the sound effects at the appropriate time and all that stuff.
Right.
It takes a lot of time to put all that together. But as an actor participating, it's really not a huge commitment. It's loads of fun. It's like what do you do, like 3 rehearsals, I think?
That's correct, yeah. 3 rehearsals.
3 rehearsals.
And then on the Saturday of the same week, we have our 3rd rehearsal. We do the broadcast, so.
And it's live. It's
and
live.
we do these live, so this is why we're a little bit
Pressure's
different
on. Yeah.
than a lot of the other groups out there. There are a lot of other groups that go ahead, they have actors from around the world that are involved in their radio show. They shoot it, and then they do a lot of video post-production. My whole thing was to do it, organically and just kind of like, if we screw up, we screw up, and just work with it.
It's just for fun, and it's really more. It is a fun thing to do. This is not. Everybody's serious about it in the sense that I think everybody wants to produce a good product.
Yep.
But still, it is ultimately for fun. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you can't take it too seriously, and they're very hokey.
Well, I think by nature they are too.
By nature, yeah.
They had. There's just so many great things that happened during this time that we look at it now and go, well, that's kind of hokey, but this was all groundbreaking, to have, these broadcasts like, a sci-fi thing out there, and being broadcast. I mean, in the mid-30s, finally only 60% of America had a radio, but that was a huge number,
right. Right. And and also when you're doing a radio show as an actor, you can kind of be creative with your costumes, you can, and your props, and also you don't have to memorize your lines. I mean, I guess some people choose to memorize their lines, but because it's a radio show, reading is perfectly acceptable.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's part,
Yep.
You don't have to, so it's not a huge time commitment. It's super fun. And and so we're going to talk after we show some clips and to talk about some clips. We're going to talk about the future, and because you are planning on doing more of these, and we're going to let folks know how they can get involved if they want to, and all that good stuff. So before we launch some clips, by the way, if you're listening, I'm interviewing Mark Hebert, the producer of Let's Have Words, because he is the producer, he is the founder of the virtual wing of the Hearing Room and WWHR Internet Media, and we are expanding our programming, and one of the things that we're going to do is resurrect the radio shows.
Yes, we are.
Yes, so we're going to be doing that in the near future. So we'll let people know how they can get involved and all that good stuff. But we're going to play some clips.
I do have a couple of clips. I would like to just add a footnote to the time commitment.
Okay.
To be able to be involved with the radio show as an actor, we're talking a maximum of 6 hours over maybe 2 months.
Right.
Let's say 6 hours in 7 weeks. Our first one is a dry read of the script. Our second one, somebody has already, because we score the music. There's an effects person, or I find the effects, and then we do a dress rehearsal, make any changes, do a final dress rehearsal. That's the third one, and then on that Saturday we go live.
Right.
Come hell or high
And this
water.
and this is also a very collaborative thing. Like our actors participate in,
Without a
in kind
doubt.
of putting it together.
Having the ideas of the acting troupe is just fabulous. It just expands it out, because it expands it beyond what the original writers had said, what the radio station said they could do.
Yeah.
And then even, beyond your knowledge, my knowledge, anybody else's, and say, hey, you know what? Why doesn't this happen? And I actually have an example of that I can show on screen.
All right. Well, why don't we roll some clips? So what we'll do is we'll are you ready to do that?
Sure.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll sort of describe a little bit what's going on
Okay.
in the clip, and then we'll run it, and then we'll talk about it after, and we'll just roll some clips. All right. So this first one, what is this going to be?
All right, hold on one second, because as people know, I'm multitasking, so I'm answering chat.
Oh.
I'm putting up things out here, and Conrad has an excellent
Not
question.
me,
We
I'm
will
just-
will get to your question, Conrad.
We'll get to your question. I'm just kicking back, having a drink. I'm good. That's all I'm doing.
All right, so I am going to go ahead and share this first clip. This first clip is exactly what you were talking about, of how the actors get involved with costumes and props and things like that. So this goes to finding a sound effect, working with them. So this is going to be out of the haunting hour. And
The
it's
haunting
gonna-
hour. This is the first one.
This is the first one we
did.
did, and it's going to show just how the lead male character had taken his role. So here we
Yeah,
go.
he died. He was really into his role.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Helen, I think I love this gun more than you. There. It's okay now, clean as a whistle, and ready for the work at hand.
That was excellent. So yeah, he really threw himself into that.
So right,
Yeah.
his character in
Yeah.
the prior scene was
Yeah.
somewhere else. Character blanks off screen. He goes ahead. He's got now this hunting jacket, because in the scene coming up, they were going hunting,
Yeah.
and he found himself a prop BB gun or something like
And that click, tick, click, click, that was a sound effect.
That was a sound effect
Yeah.
played over the video there.
Yeah. No, that was excellent. So that was from the first one we did.
No, let's see. Thank you for that question, Jason. That's, I'm just going to put this up here.
Oh.
He was saying that few people had had radios. What did they do? Watch TV. Of course, TV came in much later than that. But
That's right.
that's good. All right. In the second clip, I want to go ahead and show the interaction that we talked about, that just the actors can have with each other. And so this is going to be a sharing scene.
Suppose that Mr. Thornton wants to keep this box of bullets downstairs, just out there on the open shelf. I'm thinking it might be dangerous.
Bullets?
Yes, bullets. See this box here.
We screwed that one up. We screwed that up. Both of us.
It's all right. That was our first one. So that was while we were learning how to hand something to
Yeah, we hadn't
to
perfected.
each other.
We hadn't
So,
perfected the technique.
so now we know
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're supposed to have
Here.
so if all of a sudden I want to hand this to Kaylin, I go like this,
Yeah.
and then
I go.
and then she grabs it, and then she has it.
I should
whatever.
go more like that, right?
Yes,
All
exactly.
right, let's do it
So-
again.
all
Let's
right.
do it again.
So
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to go ahead and you're going to hide that. So I
Yeah.
will hand you here you go. You need a pen?
Yes, I'd like that very much. Thank you.
Of course, it works if we have the same the same pen.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, we hadn't quite perfected that at that
We were
time.
learning, and we did 2 more shows, and we're still learning, because now we realize that we can pass things like if you know where the character is on the screen, I can take this pen now, I can send it this way, and then Lara would be able to reach with the left hand and grab it, and whatever.
There's the left hand. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you can't be uncoordinated like me.
right.
All right. What else? What else do we have?
I'm
All
going to
right.
go ahead and share it.
This is fun. I love watching the clips. This is fun.
All right. Well, one of the other things, and this goes to Conrad's question.
Oh,
so,
Conrad asked it about. Okay.
So he asked, did they interrupt the old radio shows with commercials?
Mm-hmm.
So in the early 20s, there were no sponsors for radio shows. It was so brand new. But by the end, by 1930, 9 out of 10 stations had sponsors. These were not interrupted radio shows. These were part of the radio show. They could all of a sudden be doing a scene, and then all of a sudden, the Johnson wax guy comes in the front door. It's like, oh, come in, Howard or whoever. And then they do the commercial. It's like, well, Mildred, if you haven't been, cleaning your floor right, maybe you should use Johnson wax. Or, they go into the kitchen and they have Nescafe coffee, or they're going to have a
So
smoke.
It was product placement.
Well,
but
it's
it was
because
going
it's
even beyond
sponsorship.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I wanted to do when we went live was to preserve some of these old-time commercials.
Yeah.
So this clip is showing that.
Okay. Cool. And this is from what?
Giving up coffee.
This is Haunting Hour.
Yeah.
Although there are many people who can drink coffee without becoming nervous and jittery, there are many others who can't. So if you suspect coffee upset your nerves, switch to Postum. For Postum contains no
Postum.
caffeine or any other stimulant that could possibly set your nerves on edge. And it's an ideal mealtime beverage, tempting to look at, fragrant to smell, and delicious to taste.
And use it at night. Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
What was that clip from? That was from the second one we did.
That's Inner Sanctum, Voice on the Wire.
Voice on the Wire. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was Colgate tooth powder.
Yeah.
Which is
gross.
basically this, sand and some kind of a pasty thing that you would just grind your teeth down with. I had gone out onto the internet to go ahead and find the original can because they sing it in the jingle, and in the show we kept the whole jingle for the sake of the clip. I had cut these down, but it mentioned that it's a dentifrice, which is written on the other side of the can. One side says tooth powder, the other side says dentifrice, and I just like to have those kind of props. So I enjoy having the old commercials as part of it. Some of them we're not going to do. We're not going to be continuing sponsoring smoking, or go out and like the wartime commercials,
Right.
things like that.
Right.
So do you want to continue to just do a couple more
Yeah.
clips?
Let's just keep going with clips.
Go right
Let's
with
watch
them.
them all.
All right, so this next clip,
Yeah.
this is just kind of an idea to show you how the actors get involved and they take their characters. This is strictly a thing with them interacting and developing their character. Here's Linda Blair Vanalia getting murdered off screen.
David? David?
This is Laurie
Yes,
Zuroff,
Geraldine. I've come back to
David
see
Hollabaugh,
you, in spite of everything you've done.
Diane
Stop.
Cordes.
Diane Cordes. That's
You
right.
killed me, didn't you, darling? You started that fire because you knew I was too much of an invalid to get out of bed.
Stay where you are.
You hated me, Geraldine.
Stop!
No. Your bullets can't harm me now. Nothing you do can harm me, because I'm dead and you're still alive.
David, forgive me. I didn't know what I was doing that night. Please believe me. I was sorry as soon as I started that fire, but it was too late then. I couldn't put it out. I just couldn't.
How dare you? How dare you ask me forgiveness when you're still
Frankly, I
lying?
can't explain the performance you're about to hear.
Oh, okay,
Science
so
without
this is from The
explaining it
Thought,
calls it
which was the first one we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
thought transference.
I calls it hokum.
Yes.
Same
He's a
show.
sergeant.
That audience member is Lara over there.
And you want me to tell you Stanley's serial number? It's 340767. Is that correct?
Why, yes, it is. Hello.
Oh, I've been trying to get you for hours. I know it's very late, but would you come over now, Mildred?
Helen, what's the matter?
I looked again. The Galahad wasn't.
And this is Candy,
asleep.
Candy Matson.
This is Candy Matson.
The Wall Street Journal.
Right, he'd been murdered.
He was stone cold dead on Market Street.
Dwight
What a
Ellsworth.
twist. I, who always went on the prowl for a whodunit, got one tossed into my lap,
Loosen up
literally.
on her, boys.
What?
Go ahead.
This is us having fun, and it's leading up to one of the most funniest scenes we had done.
Okay. This is also
This is
Candy
better
Matson.
than the 4th of July.
Keep your head down, Rembrandt.
Oh, is that what was up?
You ready to come down now, Mrs. Ellsworth?
No, I'm not. That hateful woman, she's ruined all my plans with her snooping and prying. She's gonna die, I tell you. Oh, oh,
That's great.
Oh, that was Rose Villani as Mrs. Ellsworth getting
Ellsworth.
shot because
All that snooping and
all the
prying.
pride and you meddling kids. It was,
That was
so,
so
funny.
good.
And of course, we're doing this live, so you know a lot of the characters are seeing this for the first time. And I have one more clip that we can show, and this goes specifically to the fact that I had an idea, and I let the cast
It
member
was
know,
a miracle, Candy. I'll
the
tell
rest of
ya.
the cast didn't
You
know.
must have
Okay.
moved slightly just as she shot at you.
And this
That
is
was too
Rembrandt,
Let me
who's a
tell ya.
major alcoholic, and
Yeah.
through this whole scene, he's just making a big drink.
She's deader than a doornail. I think she was dead before she hit the ground.
What happened?
Well, we went out to her house. And she was just about ready to drive off, you know. So we trailed her down to North Beach. We lost her for a block, and then, well, we spotted her car at the top of the hill here.
What
We
a
arrived
drink.
just as she was getting on the roof next
He
door.
knows he has all these
Okay.
bottles too.
Now, you tell me your little dream.
Well, it was that ship docking that set my wheels going. The name Ellsworth started burning in the back somewhere. You saw the clippings Rembrandt dug up.
Yeah.
Well, the South Sea Island steamboat.
So in this typical scene with
Was slowly
just a
being
conversation,
sabotaged.
you couldn't do this on
I did
radio,
some checking
but you
and
can do it
found
as a
that the
visual gag.
insurance
He's pouring
companies
apple cider vinegar
weren't
now into
going
his
to
drink.
renew.
Yeah, it gets progressively stranger when
Oh.
he's putting in the barbecue sauce.
I don't know why I didn't tie that in sooner.
Oh, it's just that you had too many things on your mind, Mallard.
What was that?
Olive oil.
Olive oil.
Oh, Candy.
Well, I went out to the Ellsworth place looking for a fee. And when I left, I had a check for $300 and a line on the suspect. I was pretty sure that the old girl had knocked off her brother-in-law.
Yeah? Why were you so sure, Candy?
Well, for several reasons. One, she was a venomous old witch. Two,
The cast in the radio troupe didn't know that was going to happen. Only we told the lead characters that day there was going to be a visual gag going on, but there was a great reception for the fact that Dave Barkman. I just gave him a slight idea, and he took it into this giant thing to develop his character with this big drinking. And the other thing with Dave, he worked with Maria on who was playing Candy Matson, they worked outside of the radio troupe on their own because they were interacting a lot together. And Dave decided he was going to memorize his lines because he wanted to be able to just recite off the cuff and,
Right.
be a lot more natural. And,
Right.
just taking the characters and going that way, it's great. Everybody who's done something has just been amazing.
Yeah. So those are some fabulous examples of just like how characters interact, the costume changes, and just how much fun it is. How much fun it is to do them. So all right. So is that the last clip you?
That was the
have?
last
Okay.
clip that I was going to show.
So
yes.
those are the three that we did. We did the first one was
The Haunting Hour.
The Haunting Hour.
Yep.
The second one was
The-
On the Wire.
The Inner Sanctum on the Wire.
On the Wire.
Yep.
And the third one was the Candy Matson. All right.
That's right.
So we have plans to do another one. So have you picked out a script?
So right now I have 3 scripts ready because, of course, I was working on this last year. We had done 1 radio show in the fall of 2020 and 2 in the spring of 2021. But because with vaccines, it looked like we were going to find a place and all that, I had, waited and delayed. So, I have 3 scripts ready to go, and one is an original script.
Oh.
That was provided to us.
Nice.
We put the call out there and said, you know what, we'd love to do someone's original, radio drama if they'd like to submit one, and we did get one, and so I have that one, that could go, and then I have some other ones, 2 others that are actually ready with the cues, and all I would have to do is to put it out to the community because we also do some of it is original scores. We've had a couple of different.
So where do you get the music? So tell us a little bit about the music because the music is absolutely essential.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the first one we did, I used the actual from the broadcast. I had copied it off of the original broadcast and used the original music that was in the original broadcast. But then, our friend Rachel had mentioned that, could I take a stab at doing, some of the music and setting the scenes and setting tension and doing an original score. And she did that. And then Rose Villani also had gotten involved, because we have this group of talented people that can go ahead and do that. So on the scripts that we have, we still would have to get the sound effects done. We would have to get the music score done. But as far as the scripts, the script direction, and all the scenes, they're all ready to go as is. So, this is a project that at some point this summer, we're going to have it done. And then hopefully have another one done, for the fall.
I see. Okay, so you haven't picked out a script yet, but you've got it down to maybe 3.
Well, I have 3, and
you'll make so are you planning on making an announcement pretty soon?
As you know, and maybe the people out there don't know, I had surgery this week, so I have physical therapy and things like that. So I'm waiting to get my schedule on the right path so I know where I am, so I know what my commitment schedule can be. And once I figure out what my schedule can be is when I can put it out there because I'm ready to go. I've been waiting to have the surgery because I knew that in this recovery period, I was going to go ahead and get the radio show available and out there.
I see. Okay. All right. So, folks, if you want to get involved in the upcoming radio broadcast, if it looks like fun to you, and I want to remind people that it's not a huge commitment, which is one of the good things about it. It's just a lot of fun, and it's not like you have to memorize your lines. It's not like you have to be you can be a fabulous actor, but you don't have to be, and you can get involved. So how do people get involved if they would like to be in one of these radio broadcasts?
Sure. The easiest way to go ahead and do it is, and I'm streaming the link on the bottom of the screen. I also put it into the chat.
Oh, there we
is
go.
to go to the Hearing Room's website at hearingroom.net. And then if you click over to the WWHR Radio Theater, you'll see it in one of the tabs. Click on that. It has a contact button. It also has the 3 broadcasts are available on that page, so you can see what we do and what the what do you call that, the progressive order of how we're getting better at it.
Right.
and ready to take it to the next one. So if they just go to hearingroom.net, and like I say, the link is in the chat and on the screen, they can go ahead and do it. I can put it as a fixed banner too.
All right.
So let's see, we'll put that up there. But in the chat, it's clickable, so y'all can see it. And thank you all for your comments out there. Like I say, multitasking, so.
Yeah, so just in case people showed up a little late, this is Let's Have Words. Of course, I'm Lara Samuels, and we are discussing with the producer of the Let's Have Words show and the founder of the virtual wing of the Hearing Room, WWHR Internet Media, and we're talking with him about some upcoming programming and mainly focusing on the radio shows.
On the radio show, yep.
Yes, and we have shown, we were showing a few clips from past radio shows, and we will be doing more in the future, and possibly even doing a couple at some point live on the stage.
I'd love to be able to do that live. So you bring in the outside audience, you have people over here on this side of the stage that are doing sound effects, and just have that live play, but also do the live broadcast across the whole digital medium.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds like a huge project. Sounds like a lot of work.
Well, not if you got all these people that want to,
That's true.
be
Not if you
involved,
have-
and
that's true.
it's really not that hard to put it together. I mean, there's a lot on my side that I would do to put the thing together, but the actors, like you say, they can come in, they just look at their part, they're able to have their lines, they could have their lines in front of them. You don't even know, like I'm reading off of this piece of paper right now. You can't even tell. So.
That's right. And I just want to remind people too that these broadcasts are live and not recorded. So, but that actually, I kind of like that feeling. It's an exciting feeling to know that you're. This is it. You got one shot. You better not screw it up.
That's right. And we've definitely had some errors.
Oh yeah, but they're right. But
and as long as we cover it
They're
right as the radio troupe, the audience out there, it lives in perpetuity on the internet.
That's it.
But if they don't know that it was a mistake,
Yeah.
I mean, this is why live television was always so good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that whole element of know your shit and get it done right. You
have to be able.
That's important.
Yeah, to do something live, anything live, you have to be able to roll with mistakes. You have to be able to roll with errors.
Right.
And just be like, oh well. That's like when that clip we just watched when we're passing the bullet box.
Right.
We screwed that up so badly. But so what?
Yeah, but
that's all right.
It was developed, late. That was like probably at one of the last rehearsals.
Yeah.
And then we had to find similar boxes and find the time, and so that was the first one. And as we continue to go on, we get better and better at it. One of my favorite groups to watch is something called Project Audion, and. They do the recording thing and then do a lot of post-video production, all that. But the guy, Larry Groby, who puts that all together, he just does an amazing job, whereas he's got actors all the way across the world that join, and he's offered to help us, develop whatever we want and be a part. Matter of fact, he's part of our radio troupe.
Right.
And we've had some other people, like I say, that just submit an original script, and, there's so many things we can do to it, and it's fun. And it's exciting because it's always something different. I mean, I have things in mind that I would like to do that hasn't been taken on by some amateur groups. And I just think it would be a lot of fun to go ahead and do, but it's also a matter of figuring out my time because, as you know, I've had a lot of giant eggs on my plate.
Quite literally, you had a giant egg on your plate earlier.
I did.
But anyway, we got a giant egg from our chickens. Anyway, that's another story. That's a whole Let's Have Words. Let's
have birds.
That's a whole right. That's a whole broadcast in itself. The giant egg with 2 yolks. It was a double yolk. All right, so very, very cool. So besides the, did we talk about sound effects? I'm not sure we talked. That's
We-
my favorite part.
We didn't really talk about
Yeah,
sound
that's my
effects
favorite
much.
part. Let's talk a little bit about the sound effect component of this, because the sound effects are really important. It strikes me that there are certain sound effects that are like essential, and they show up in almost every radio show, like footsteps or telephone ringing. Like there's certain ones that are always present.
Right.
You know.
For sure.
And how do you do the sound effects? Are they pre-recorded, or do you do some of the fun stuff they used to do, like crinkling paper and
You do whatever will sell it, and
Yeah.
you know, is in my opinion easiest.
Right.
You know, because some of it works and some of it doesn't work. Because we're doing it in this type of format. And if I'm doing a sound effect, it comes out of my microphone, but maybe you're in a crowded room or something like that. There are, you can get a small device like this, which,
oh yeah,
has applause. It has all kinds of, let's say you wanted somebody to rack their gun. Oh no, somebody shot. You can have that. That's not what we used.
Yeah.
I went out there. I actually found sound effects. There's all sites available to it. A lot of them are royalty free.
Yeah.
So, say you need a ringing telephone, but you don't want it to sound like, 1960. You
Yeah.
want it to sound like 1935.
Yes.
You got to go get out there and find the right one, and it takes some time to go through that.
and it helps if all actors have one of them.
And if they have the prop, that's right. That's why we keep that right there, And that's the other thing
Yeah.
with the props. We were able to, in one of the episodes, we had the sound of a pouring glass of whiskey or bourbon or something like that. But what we found was in a glass with coins in it made the best ice sound, because ice didn't sound like ice when we did this,
Oh,
but
okay.
we
But
put
coins does
we put
too.
coins
Yeah.
in a glass, and then we're shaking it, and that worked out. I don't remember what episode that was. I just remember figuring that out, that this is
Yeah.
how we have to do it, because it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I found they do things on stage where they have a plank and different sets of shoes with wood blocks, or brave Sir Robin when they're clicking the coconuts together.
So that's going to be a big part of your job is inserting the sound effects, and all the actors have to be aware when they're coming, and
Right.
so they can delay their lines, or they can
Right. I'm gonna share one screen before we go.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
to
we have a few minutes
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
window. And
We'll
just to give people an idea,
Yeah.
when I take
Oh, look at that.
when I take a script,
Yeah.
I go through the script. I've marked off where the sound effects are, how I want to go ahead and change them. So the things in red are sound effects, and on my computer they got labeled. I've made notes. I've crossed things out, because you have to be able to build the script in the way you want to do, and everybody gets that copy.
Yeah.
To show where it's coming in. Of course, my copies are a little bit different because I have all the production notes on it. And I'm sure the actors have notes on their thing that, when this happens, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So, although it has a lot of work component to it, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, as you know,
Yes.
and I put a lot of work into it.
There'd be no reason to do it if it wasn't fun.
Without a doubt.
All right, so we're coming up on the end here, but do you have any closing thoughts? Any
Just my closing thoughts, and I'm going to go ahead and throw up the.
Don't throw up.
I'm not. No, I was looking real
I'm
quick.
gonna go ahead and
I
throw
was
up.
looking real quick for the link.
Okay.
For the hearing room.
Okay.
If you want to be involved in the upcoming broadcasts, we're going to do several a year. Because of the fact it takes between 5 and 6 hours over 6-8 weeks. It's one night a week.
So
is
how
an
many do you
hour
think
and
you
a
could
half.
do? Like 5 a year? Or something
Probably,
like
yeah, we'll probably do 4 or 5 a year. It all depends. I'm working on another thing, and I want to be able to coordinate that work event along with this.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
if you've ever dreamed about being, just acting, I mean, all of us.
or producing, directing. I mean, if
Yeah,
somebody
it's
out
really-
there
it's a really
said, you know
nice-
what, I would love to do blah.
Yeah.
And I'll take on the role. I'll coordinate everybody. That's great. It doesn't have to be me. Not for everything. Is what I'm saying. I mean,
Right.
a
You
lot
could
of
even
people
use some
involved.
help behind the scenes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Very cool.
Well,
All right. So
thank you.
people, be looking for, if you would like to get involved, please contact Mark at where are we contacting you?
They can just go right to the hearing room page.
The hearing room page.
And
Okay.
click on that link that's going across the screen.
That link right
Yeah,
there.
go to
that's good.
hearingroom.net
Go
and just look
hearingroom.net.
for the WWHR. You'll see the link to contact me there.
There you go. And be looking for the upcoming announcement as to what the script is going to be. I'm excited to find out. And there's all kinds of, there's usually all kinds of roles, from small roles to the lead roles, of course. So, all right. So radio shows coming to you from WWHR Internet Media, and also producing, of course, this show, Let's Have Words. And on Let's Have Words, we celebrate the art of conversation. We talk every week. Sometimes we have a guest, like we did tonight. I want to thank my guest, who is the producer of this show, Mark Bear. And we had a wonderful conversation about radio shows and, of course, just sort of updating people on some of the upcoming programming that we will be having. And if you would like to be on Let's Have Words, if you feel, we're always looking for people to interview. This is something that, we whatever you want to talk about it, whatever you want to talk about, we will definitely entertain the possibility of having you on. We cover a wide array of topics, and we are always interested in finding people to come on the show for an interview. It is a very low-key, casual environment, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And please, please, please contact us if you'd like to be on the show. All right, and I'm Lara Samuels, and once again, this has been Let's Have Words, and I will see you next week, hopefully at the same time. And in the meantime, please keep those lines of communication open.
Let's have words. Let's have words. Say what it's all about. We're gonna say what it's about.